I'm Mark McDonald with Detroit Speed and Engineering. Today we're going to walk you through the installation of our mini tub kit for the first generation F-body. As you can see, we've already removed our deck lid and our torsion springs. Now I went ahead and added a brace to our deck lid hinge to hold it in a stock location while we cut out some of our bracing. Next, you want to locate your trunk floor cut template. We're going to trim this out and get it ready for our cut line for the mini tub. Now that we have our cut template trim, we're going to lay out our cut lines. First, we're going to bend the flange over for our cut template. And then we're going to place it up to the wheel tub, make sure it's kind of snug to the edge. And this is 2 3/4 from the side of the tub to the edge of our template. Next, we're going to scribe the edge of our cut template. And then we're going to scribe the back edge of it. Alright, next we're going to slide our cut template out to our inside, matches up to our scribe line that we just laid out. And then we're going to make sure this back edge is parallel to the scribe line we've laid out. Alright, then we're going to go to the inside and we're going to pick up the scribe line that we laid out and we're going to continue on this radius. Alright, and you notice the tab we folded up earlier. I'm going to fold it back down and we'll scribe around it. Alright, this tab, what it's going to do is let us have some sheet metal to attach our wheel tub to further on in our installation. Alright, once you've laid out your cut lines, take the template, turn it over, and we'll transfer the cut lines to the other side of the car. Alright, we're going to get our dividers and set them for 2 3/4. Alright, we're going to transfer a 2 3/4 line from the edge of our wheel tub out onto our floor pan. Alright, once we establish this line, the first part of it on our floor pan here was going to be a fold line. This part will be a cut line. Alright, next we're going to lay out our fold line for the front edge of our tub so we'll have something to attach to. We'll just land a straight edge up from the edge of our rocker and we'll transfer the line onto our floor pan. Alright, next we're going to take the dividers and we'll set them for 2 inches. Alright, we're going to scribe a 2-inch line using the side of our wheel tub again. Alright, that's going to allow us 3/4 of an inch of tab to bend down to attach our wheel tub to later. Alright, then we're going to do the same thing off of this front line we scribed. Just 3/4 of an inch. And then when these 2 corners meet, we're going to draw a line to the 2 corners. Alright, this is going to be our cut line. And we're going to cut this too. Alright, so we're going to cut this and this line and then this one here. When this is cut, these 2 areas will be folded under and it'll give us something to attach our tub to. You can see we've already drilled out our spot welds for our package tray reinforcement. This is going to aid in the installation of your wheel tub and if you're doing the quadrelink or the leaf spring shock cross member. So we're going to show you where to trim too. So we had to trim this area and get rid of this because of their tubs are going to be wider. So I'll take a straight edge and I'll line it up along our package tray. I'll scribe it along here. Alright, being that we've already cut these spot welds out, then this is our only cut line. We're going to cut this and we'll discard this. But there's also spot welds. We'll address those in just a minute. Next we're going to locate the spot welds where our outer wheel tub is lapped over to our inner wheel tub. We're going to locate those and I like to use an 1/8 inch drill bit to pilot drill them. Alright, now that we've drilled out our spot welds, you'll notice that we didn't go all the way through a couple of these. Okay, you really don't want to do that because you'll take material off where you're going to weld to later. So just be careful when you drill in and don't drill all the way through. Just drill one layer of sheet metal at a time. Alright, I'm going to take my seam splitter, or weld buster you'd call it, after we've drilled out our spot welds, and I'm going to bust this seam apart. I'll take some strips and just fold this out of our way. Right, now that we got the outer wheel tub off of our inner, and we've got it pulled away from it so we can get to our inner tub where it's welded to the rocker, we'll do the same thing. Now that we have our inner wheel tub pulled loose from our rocker, we'll move on to additional spot welds in the top. Alright, now we're going to locate the spot welds for the rear package tray reinforcement that we spoke of earlier. We're going to go ahead and drill those out and separate that. Alright, next we're going to follow suit, drilling out the spot welds for the trunk lid hinge reinforcement. And also we're going to get these few spot welds that attaches the tub to our trunk floor, because we want to retain part of the trunk floor to attach our wheel tub to. Now that we have these spot welds drilled out, we can loosen our tub away from the trunk floor. Again, I'll take my weld buster. Fold that out of the way. Alright, now that we have our spot welds drilled from the inside of the tub, like we showed earlier, I'm going to go in and I'm going to knock this loose, and then we're going to cut it out. We'll discard this piece. And you'll see our cut line. Next, we're going to take and drill the welds out for our deck lid hinge reinforcement. See, I've already drilled a few of these out. So we'll locate the rest of them, and then use our 8-inch pilot, and then use our weld cutter. Alright, now that we've cut out our deck lid hinge support and our package tray support, we're going to start cutting out our tub. And we're going to follow the cut line we laid out earlier. to pay attention to your cut line in the front. It's going to be slightly different than the rear, because you're going to have to leave the 3/4 inch flange to attach your wheel tub to. Now that we have most of our 4-pin cut, we're going to continue cutting our inner wheel tub loose from the car. We're going to follow the factory bend line in the seam. Alright, now we're going to move to the underside and finish cutting out our trunk floor and our wheel tub. Okay, you can see where our cut from the inside has protruded through our frame rail and reinforcement. What we're going to do is connect these two cuts from the underside. On the same blueprint as our 4-pan cut template is also our bottom side of frame rail cut template. Alright, we're going to go ahead and cut out the lower frame rail cut template, and then we'll transfer our cut lines to the bottom of the frame rail. Alright, I'm going to make a mark 14¼ inches from the front edge of the leaf spring mounting bushing, and we're going to go to the frame rail here. Alright, so 14¼ inches. Alright, now I'm going to lay our cut template out from the back edge of it to the 14¼ inch mark, and I'll tape it up there. And then this edge lines up with the edge, inside edge of our frame rail. Now we'll scribe our cut line on the bottom of the frame rail. Okay, now that we've removed our cut template, you can see our scribe marks, and what we're going to do is line up this edge of our cut line with the cut that we made earlier from the inside of the car that comes through on the frame rail. So it's a straight edge, and it'll be a slightly angled back, and we'll scribe. Alright, and that's our cut line, so everything cut. We're going to continue our cut line from the front edge of the bottom of the frame rail upward, and that'll be our cut line also. And you'll see where these two kind of, where we start here, and they'll kind of intersect. And then we'll finish trimming this out, and we'll go from there. Okay, now that we have our frame rail section and our trunk pan cleared away, we'll do a visual inspection from our cut line that we laid out and cut earlier. If anything is protruding past this, it will need to be removed. So you'll be able to want to look down the side of it and see that it's good and parallel to your cut line. One other thing we'll look at is where we've trimmed our inner wheel tub out. It's left this flange. So what we want to do is trim this back as far as we can get it and feather the edge. That way we have a nice clean edge and that'll aid in getting our new wheel tub flush to the outer. Okay, now that we've got this trimmed back and a good flat surface, we'll continue on these parts you'll see here outlined. We'll continue to grind those down an 1/8 inch further, and here in these areas too. So that way, when our closeout plates go in, they'll set flush with our cut line surface. Alright, next we're going to focus on the end of the rocker. We're going to trim this flange off flush with the end, and we're going to come in and we're going to break our layout lines 90 degrees. That'll give us something to attach our tub to. Alright, now we're going to take our clamps and line it up on our layout lines. I'm just going to fold it over 90 degrees. Alright, next we're going to hammer and dolly our flange in the rear, and again we'll follow our scribe line from earlier. Alright, next we're going to feather the edge of our old wheel tub that we cut out, and we're going to make it nice and clean and give us a good surface to weld our new tub to. Alright, as you can see, we feathered the edge. You want to continue this until you go all the way around the wheel tub. It's not necessary to remove this flange because the factory, they do a continuous weld all the way around it. You can remove it if you like, but it's not necessary. Now that we have our flange dressed and ground, we're going to take our mini tub and fit it to the car and make sure there's nothing else we have to trim or fit before we weld our closeout panels into the frame and the floor pan. Alright, next you want to locate your frame rail closeout supplied in the kit. We're going to fit them in here. Most cars will need to be trimmed to fit because there's lots of variances in every car. Now we have our piece trimmed and our edges beveled for welding. We'll fit it in once more. Alright, fits pretty good. I think we're ready to weld it in. Now we have our frame rail closeout welded in. We'll go back and grind the welds to a smooth finish. Okay, we'll locate our other closeout and we'll do the same thing. Is we'll lay it up here and we'll look to see what we need to trim to fit, and we'll go from there. As I mentioned earlier, trim this area back and this area back an 1/8 inch further to accommodate our closeout. So I've got it trimmed and ready to weld in. You'll notice our closeout has holes punched in it. Alright, what those are for is so we can weld 2 the flange on the other side, so you just weld to the edge. So as you're welding, you'll locate the edge of your panel and weld to it. Now that we have our frame rail and our floor pan boxed in, we'll take our wheel tub and get it fit for our next step. Alright, now that we have this thing clamped in place, it gives us a good general idea of where it's going to land. We're going to go inside and we're going to make a mark on top of the frame rail and the top of the floor pan. That way we'll know where our plug welds will need to be. Now that we have our Sharpie mark and we take the wheel tub out, we'll know the height of our floor pan. And we already know the thickness of this, so we'll just measure down 1/4 inch and we'll know where our holes need to be for plug welds. Now that we've removed our wheel tub from initial mock-up, you can see our Sharpie lines we laid out earlier. That gives us a reference for our plug weld holes. I like to go about 1/4 inch to 3/8 down below the line and 2 inches apart. You can see all around the tub. And also our flange that we're going to weld in here, I go 2 inches apart on all the plug welds and just stay in the center of this flange all the way around. And should be good to go, and we'll get this thing ready to weld in. Alright, once we got this part of the wheel tub welded in, we'll take our outer wheel tub flange and fold it over and continue to weld it. As you can see, I started here. Alright, as you can see, we have the tab in the rear. We're going to do the same as we did in the front. We'll fold it over, finish plug welding it.